Hello everyone. In the earlier sessions, we discussed about the provisions related to set off and carry forward of losses. Hopefully, everybody has gone through the provisions and became very thorough with them. Most importantly, what are the positive and negative incomes which are allowed to be set off and which are not allowed to be set off? There should not be any confusion, and these are very crystal clear provisions. There is no gray area in these provisions. If the law says it is allowed, it is allowed. Or if the law is silent also, it is allowed. If the law says it is not allowed, it is not allowed. So as simple as that. Wherever the restrictions are there on the set off, they have to be just applied. With that clarity, hopefully most of you have practiced the questions which were given to you also. And in the earlier session, after the discussion of some of the questions in the ICI material, I asked you to solve some questions as a task. Let us quickly go through how the solutions to those tasks can look like. Once again, I'm not going to give the presentation here. Presentation part, you know, everybody knows that. Heading, columns, full description, amounts, calculations, working notes, all these things are normally to be done as part of presentation. What I'm going to show is only the answer, only the calculation part, how these questions can be addressed. So let us take this situation 1 and situation 2 of first question, which was given to you earlier as a task. From the following information submitted to you, compute the taxable income in the following situations. That's the question here. So here there is something like long-term, short-term capital gain or loss, and there is business income or loss also. Ideally, you should be having the same sequence of the head of incomes. So let us take PGBP. If it is negative, there is nothing to be taken because both of them are negative here. We don't need to take it at all. So there is no PGBP in this particular case. So what is positive, that we should take first. So what is a positive thing here? Let us take long-term capital gain in this case, that is 1,70,000. That is a positive item. Long-term capital gain. And the only positive item in situation 2 is short-term capital gain. So let us take that here. Short-term capital gain, how much? 1,10,000. So the question is very simple. Each situation is different. First we have to call the positives as usual. Then let us look at situation 1 and take the negatives. So take the negatives in situation number 1. There is a short-term capital loss of 50,000. Question is whether the short-term capital loss be adjusted. Let us put it this way separately as situations. Yeah. So situation 1 has long-term capital gain of 1,70,000. Situation 2 has short-term capital gain of 1,10,000. That is what is given already. Now just for setting off any losses under each of the situations. Situation 1 first let us complete. 50,000 loss is there. That is called a short-term capital loss here. So can that be set off against long-term capital gain or not? Answer is yes, it can be set off. There is no issue at all. So definitely that can be taken as minus. Then we have PGBP loss. Let us call it business loss. So business loss is there 80,000. Can that be set off against long-term capital gain? Once again, yes. Why? Because business income has a restriction only against salaries. There is no restriction about business loss to be set off against any head of income. So ultimately after setting off this, what is the final answer here? 40,000 rupees is the final answer in case of situation 1. Done. Situation 2, we have positive thing 1,10,000. Negative is long-term capital loss of 3 lakhs. Can that be set off? No, it cannot be set off because the restriction is there. Long-term capital loss can be set off only against long-term capital gain, but not against short-term capital gain. Not possible. Then what about PGBP? Our business loss here, which is 90,000. Can that be set off? Absolutely yes, there is no problem. for business loss to be set off against any head of income, no issue. Except salaries, business loss can be set off against any head of income. So after setting it off, the answer here will be 40,000 for situation 1, 20,000 for situation 2. That is the correct answer for question number 1. Check your answers. If there are any mistakes in the application of any provision or thought process, rectify that. That is the purpose of this. I don't think just watching these videos is called learning. Watching is one part. Definitely you have to put pen on paper and solve these things. If there is a provision, you have to write them. If there is a problem, you have to do that. Then it is called learning. So I hope all of you are doing it and learning in a proper way. So final answer here is 40,000 and 20,000. Question number 1 over. Question number 2. From the following information submitted to you, compute the total income of A for the assessment year 2020-21 and various things are given. So simply speaking, same statement showing computation of total income of A for the assessment year 2020-21, particulars, amount, everything will be there. So now we have to just have some inner column and outer column and with a little bit of heads of income mentioned here. So let us just take first income from salaries, which is there as positive income, that is 2,80,000. So once we have a positive income of 2,80,000, that is salaries, that is the first positive income. Second is income from house property, that is also a positive income. So leave some sufficient space, some space, and then you write income from house property, another positive income, that is 70,000. When nothing is given, when the word is used as income from salary, income from house property, that means it is computed. If it is just mentioned that salary received, rent received, then we have to give deductions according to section 16(1)(a) in case of salaries of an amount of 50,000 rupees standard deduction. In case of income from house property, according to 24(b), 24(a) actually, that is 30% of the rent received, which can also be considered as the net annual value. So the deduction to be given or not depends upon the wording of the question. Be carefully observant of what word is used. If it is used as income from salary, income from house property, it is already computed. That's already the name of the head of the income. After all applying all provisions of the head applied, only this name will come. So there is nothing to separately do, just take the positive items. After that, there is a business loss, loss, 3 losses are there. After that, there is only another positive item, that is long-term capital gain. So as usual, always we have to take positive things first positive things. So 2,40,000 is the long-term capital gain. So in this particular case of SSCA, 3 positive items are there. All that we need to do is the remaining negatives, can they be set off? Yes or no is the only answer. So first of all, business loss 1,20,000 rupees. Question comes, can that be set off against salaries? Answer is no. Can that be set off against income from house property, business loss? Yes, no problem. So definitely business loss can be set off against income from house property. Since only 70,000 is available, we do that 70,000 only. So the remaining can be just taken as nil. Or can this business loss remaining 50,000 be set off against long-term capital gain? Is there any restriction? No restriction. Any business loss can be set off against any head of income except salaries. So other than salaries, even income from or capital gains, long-term capital gains, income from house property was okay to be set off. Long-term capital gains also is okay to be set off. So business loss, how much here you can set off? Another 50,000, because the total business loss is 1,20,000. So 70,000 set off from income from house property and 50,000 set off from long-term capital gain. And another point to be noted, sir, is there any sequence for set off also like that? Anyway, it is inter-head adjustment. So should we first set off against income from house property, then only we should come to capital gain? Is there anything like that? No. Inter-head adjustment can be done against any head in whatever the way we want, except where the restrictions are there, that cannot be done. For example, for business loss, it cannot be set off against salary, so we cannot do that. If it can be set off, definitely there is no problem with that. Definitely that can be set off against income from house property also and long-term capital gain also. No sequence here. Sir, I will take entire 1,20,000 here. Take, sir, no problem. There is not an issue. There can be alternative solutions to this. No doubt about it. There is no problem in that. However, always it is to be done for the benefit of the SSE. So it can be done with little bit of more common sense on the other aspects to be applied. In general, if you see, if there is a facility for you to, if at all, there is a facility for anybody to set off, not in this case, in general also, to set off against income from house property, set off against long-term capital gain, which is the better one to set off? There also you should think, na? Which is better one to set off? Definitely income from house property. Why? Income from house property might be having a higher rate of income tax applicable. In general, we are talking about high income tax rate SSEs. If that is the case, this will be applicable at a higher rate of tax, whereas long-term capital gain normally will be applicable at a lower rate of tax, that is only 20%. Imagine if a person is not having higher rate of tax, is having a rate of tax of only 5%, let us say, already he is in that bracket. Then there is no problem. Then you can do the entire thing with long-term capital gain, which will be taxable at a higher rate. So set off can be first done there. So ultimately, in this case, there is not going to be any big difference because the income of the SSE is relatively low. However, in other cases, it is better to take the set off sequence in accordance with the requirement of the SSE, whichever gives the SSE the best benefit. That has to be done. Then we have a loss from specified business under 35 AD 60,000. We cannot do anything with that. Why? Because it can be set off only against profit of other specified business, which we don't have. So what has to be done? It can be carried forward, but indefinitely. Then short-term capital loss, can it be set off against long-term capital gain? Short-term capital loss, can it be set off against long-term capital gain? Absolutely yes, there is no problem. So definitely this 60,000 can be set off. So here we have 2,80,000 salaries. Of course, here it is nil. That is income from house property nil. Each head of income has one by one. Salary is 2,80,000. Income from house property nil. Then capital gains, after the set off actually happened, capital gains can be overall calculated as this. That is 1,30,000. That's it. The total income of this particular SSE would be 4,10,000. So ultimately, everything here is possible to be set off, no problem, except that income or loss from specified business, negative income from specified business 60,000 could not be set off since there is no profit or positive income from the similar business for this SSE. All others could be set off. Business loss was set off against income from house property also, and long-term capital gain also, there is no problem. Same way, short-term capital gain, short-term capital loss can be set off against long-term capital gain. There is no restriction in that sense. So total income of this SSE is 4,10,000. That is the answer. Check your answers with this and rectify wherever there are any mistakes. Next, question number 3. Once again, we have two situations here. So situation number 1 and situation number 2. So whatever the situation is, all that we need to do is one by one. Use the same. So let us take situation number 1 first. So there is a PGBP here for this guy, and PGBP here is how much positive income we are talking, 1,50,000. That's it. When you have positive income of 1,50,000 only, there is nothing else which can be written here. Only 1,50,000 positive income is there. All others are negative. All that we need to do is, can this be adjusted with this positive income or not? Yes or no is the only point. Income or loss from speculation business, 80,000 negative. Can this be adjusted? No. Because loss from speculation business, this is negative. Can be adjusted only against the profits of speculative business. No set off possible, but it can be carried forward for a period of 4 years. That you can write a note. Loss from specified business under 35 AD, can this be set off against this? No. Once again, it can be set off only against the profits from another specified business. But since there are no such profits available here, it can be carried forward, but indefinitely. Short-term capital loss we are talking. Short-term capital loss, can that be set off against business income? Understand the restriction here. Short-term capital loss, can that be set off against? Imagine if there is a long-term capital gain. Yes, there is no restriction on inter-source adjustment for short-term capital loss, but if you remember, there is a restriction on inter-head adjustment. Losses under the head of capital gains can be set off against any gains from the same head. There is no possibility of inter-head adjustment for capital losses, whatever they are, short-term, long-term. So this 1,70,000 also cannot be set off against any other head of income, not possible. There is a restriction on inter-head adjustment of capital gains. That all these provisions you should remember already, you should know them already. So 1,70,000 not possible to be set off. Agricultural income or loss 40,000 cannot be set off also because it is an income which is exempt from tax. Otherwise, exempt incomes, if they are having any kind of profit, even then they are exempt. If they are having loss, how can they be set off? Not possible. That's why set off is not possible in relation to the losses arising from exempt incomes. Agricultural income is an example of that, so not possible. So no negative income is there which can be set off against this positive income of 1,50,000. So not possible. So leave this. Situation number 1 total is going to be just 1,50,000 only. That is the final answer. No set off, no nothing. Then coming to situation 2, take the positives first as usual. Positives are what? Speculation business. So let us take profits from speculative business. That is also PGBP by the way, but just for keeping it separate, we are just carrying it as if it is a separate item, only to have a clarity. Basically all this is PGBP. Then loss from a specified business. So same way, loss from a, not loss actually, it is a profit, positive, no? So earlier it was loss for situation 1, here it is profit. So same thing. So profit from a specified business, though it is same, but we don't go with abbreviation, you have to write the full form. So first one is loss from or income from speculation business, second one is income from specified business. These are the only two positives. So what are the positives here? Now take it. 3,50,000 income from speculation business, 40,000 income from specified business. Now the question comes, can the loss from manufacturing business 3,60,000 be set off against this or not? Can this be set off against this or not? Intra-head, within the head, first we have to look at that. Answer is yes. Once again, you have to remember the direction of the restrictions. Direction of the restriction was what? If there was a loss from speculation business, loss from specified business, that could not have been adjusted against profits of normal business. However, if there is a loss from normal business, that could be very well adjusted against the incomes of speculation business also, specified business also. There is no problem. That can be used as an income which can be adjusted against the losses of normal businesses. So definitely just let us take this as PGBP, or you can call this profit from manufacturing business. All this is PGBP only, by the way. And how much is that? Minus 3,60,000. Entire amount can be definitely very well set off, no problem. Because amount available is 3,90,000. Loss is only this, we can call it as loss. Loss from manufacturing business 3,60,000 can be set off. Another loss is short-term capital loss 1,70,000. Question comes, can short-term capital loss be adjusted any other head of income? Not possible. So definitely this 1,70,000 cannot be set off. Agricultural income 60,000 is not taxable, so not taxable ultimately. So that is exempt basically, agricultural income under section 10 subsection 1. So not to be included in the total income of the SSC. Definitely no. That will be separately just useful only for calculation of tax purposes. That is a different story. But is it taxable? No, it is exempt. Hence not to be included. So what is the total income of the SSC now under situation 2? That is 30,000. That's all. That is question number 3. Once again, check your answers carefully. Question number 1, 40,000, 20,000. That is question number 1. Question number 2, 4,10,000. Question number 3, 1,50,000 and 30,000. Now moving to question number 4, which is actually a mix of both set off and residential status. Such question was also asked in the examinations earlier. Very interesting question. 5 marks question can be asked like this. So here is giving incomes. That's okay. First of all, if it is taxable, we'll take it as taxable. But the point is, if it is taxable, then only set off provision will apply. No? If there is something as an income which is not taxable for a person, there is no possibility of set off. That is the logic we have to apply here. And other things like ROR, RNOR, RNR, what are the possible tax treatments that we should know already. All the provisions of the act, we have to remember them. Cannot say forgot and all. Not allowed. So ROR, RNOR, NR. One by one, let us take. So Let us take this points one by one. Just there are 6 points. Let us take them one by one. There is no need of any heads here. Whatever the points given in that question, we can just take in the same sequence. No worries. So the gross total income of M we have to calculate for the assessment year ROR, RNOR, NR. So one by one, if you take first 2 point, profit from business A situated in Delhi, 1,50,000 profit it is. So is it going to be taxable or not is a question. In case of ROR, RNOR, NR. Of course, it will be taxable in all cases. Why? Because the business is situated in Delhi. When business is situated in India, income is accrued in India. Hence, it is taxable in all cases. So take it directly. 1,50,000. In all cases, it is going to be 1,50,000 only for RNOR and NR. Also, it is 1,50,000. Same thing. Next, profit from business B situated in Bombay. Once again, same. That is going to be how much? 1 lakh. So 1 lakh is taxable. This also in all cases. Why? Because business is situated in Bombay. Now look at point number 3. This is where the important point comes. Loss from business C carried in New York. It is carried in New York. And the business is controlled from India, but profits are not received in India. So there is some income which is received outside India, but the business is controlled from India. Whenever such thing is there, first forget about loss. Imagine if it is profit. In whose hands it would have been taxable? In whose hands it would have been taxable? ROR? Yes. Because for ROR, anyway, global income is taxable. What about RNOR? Business is controlled from India, but profits are not received in India. So even though the business is controlled from India, even though the business is carried outside India, still it will be taxable for RNOR. Why? Because the business is controlled from India. So if it was positive rather than negative, it would have been taxable for ROR and RNOR. When it is positive, it is taxable only for ROR, RNOR. If it was positive, it was not taxable for NR at all. Why? Since the business is carried on in New York and business is not having any profits which are received in India. So ultimately NR has no taxability. When there is no taxability, there is no possibility of set off also. So this last 60,000, we don't have to do anything with NR. But whereas for ROR, this loss can be set off as if it is the income. If it was positive, it would have been taxable. Now since it is loss, it is possible to set it off against other businesses A and B, of course assuming C is not a specified business, right? We don't have to assume things like they are specified business. That is absolutely rubbish. If nothing is mentioned, don't touch them. If we have to go on with such exceptions, everything should have an assumption. First of all, we should assume that M is a human being. We should start from there. So when business A is not a specified business, not a business which is mentioned in section 35, not a business which is let us say mentioned in 35 AD, not a speculative business. What nonsense is that? We don't have to do any of those assumptions. Business A, if nothing is mentioned, it is normal business. There is no need to write any assumption. It is a normal business. For normal things, there is no assumption. M is a human being, so he is an individual, he is a SSC. All these things are normal. No need of any assumption there. So unnecessary assumptions we should not take. Point is, C is carried out from outside India, but it is controlled from India. Hence, it is taxable if it was positive in case of ROR, RNOR. Same way, since it is negative, it is allowed to be set off in case of ROR, RNOR only. For NR, if positive, it would not have been taxable. Hence, now since it is negative, it cannot be deducted also, it cannot be set off also. Unabsorbed depreciation of business C. Business C is once again same, 35,000. Once again same. Unabsorbed depreciation, can this be set off? Of course yes. Unabsorbed depreciation can be set off against business income, no problem. Business C, that is how much? 35,000. But once again, no. For non-resident, why? Because for non-resident, it would not have been taxable the income from business C. So any other things like depreciation or other deductions cannot be deductible since income itself was not taxable. So for non-resident, this 35,000 cannot be deducted. So this is the situation in relation to profits from business C. One is loss, one is unabsorbed depreciation of business C. Of course, this is related to ROR, RNOR and NR. Then we have income from house property situated in India. Already it is given as income from house property, so no need to compute anything. Already it is computed naturally. So how much should be taxable? Entire amount should be taxable. For whom? For everybody. Then income from house property situated in London, rent is received in London. Again, here also what used is income from house property. So it must have been already calculated. Since it is received in London, the property is also in London, it would be taxable for ROR, no doubt. Rent is also received in London. So will it be taxable for RNOR? No. For NR also it is not taxable. So finally what is going to be the total income of ROR? That is 2,25,000. Then 1,65,000 for RNOR, and for NR it is 2,60,000, that is taxable. So understand this very carefully. Where there is a positive income taxable in India, there only negative set off is possible. If positive itself was not taxable, negative cannot be set off also. Simple logic. That has to be applied here in question number 4. Check your answers, final answers with this. There is 2,25,000, 1,65,000 and 2,60,000. These are the answers for the task which was given to you. Check your answers once again. If you have done all of them correctly, fantastic. If not, rectify the mistakes and don't do the mistakes once again later. Clear? That is about the answers to key. What? Answers to the task that was given to you earlier. Now, moving on to the questions which are there in the ICA material. Some of the questions we already discussed in the earlier sessions up to some of the illustrations. Of course, all the illustrations are discussed already. Question number 2, 1 and 2 have been discussed. Still, there are some more exercise questions which are to be done. So, let us quickly go through these things and do the calculations related to those questions. So, now this is question number 3. Read it carefully. Mr. Batra furnishes the following details for the year ended 31st March 2020, naturally. And we have certain items which are all given here. Like, for example, capital gains is there, business is there, salary is there, house property is there. So, many items are there. So, we need to read through them very carefully, and definitely there is going to be an inner column and outer column, both should be there. And one by one, there will be different types of heads of income. So, be it income from salaries, income from house property, leaving sufficient space with each of them. Then we have PGBP. These are all headings, side headings. You have to first have full forms, of course, and then income from other sources. These are the heads of incomes. All of them might be there here. If not there, what is the big deal? Just write them. If there is no income, just write nil. Don't worry about it. So whenever any question is coming like this with many items of incomes that you can see, just write the head of incomes first. Then within that you can write whatever the amounts are coming here. Now one by one, let us take positive items as usual. First stepwise, if you see, write down the heads of incomes, full forms of course. In the exam you write them as side headings with proper underline and all that. So like that if you do, that is like a heading. Within that you can write the details of each head of income, whatever that comes into our purview. So first of all, short-term capital gain, he said, that is 1,40,000. Gain we can write here definitely within the capital gain. So I'm writing just a little bit separately. Short-term capital gain, right? So short-term capital gain is there. How much is that? 1,40,000. Positive. Only positives you have to look at. Negatives will come to them later. While writing positives, don't think about negatives. While adjusting negatives, don't think about positives other than what we are adjusting. Same way. Loss from speculative business loss. Long-term capital gain. The loss will leave it. We'll come back to that. Long-term capital gain on the sale of land. I told you already, don't worry about where from the gain has come. You just focus on mostly what is the nature of that. So this is long-term capital gain. Simple. So write it long-term capital gain. How much? From the sale of land, 30,000. Okay, that's good. So we have a short-term capital gain and a long-term capital gain which are given here. Then there is long-term capital loss. We'll come to that later. Then income from business of textile, whatever business it is, doesn't matter. After allowing the current year depreciation, of course, it should be like that only. So 50,000 rupees is PGBP. So I'm just calling it as income from textile business. Income from textile business, that is profit we are talking, positive 50,000. Okay, another positive item. Next, income from the activity of owning and maintaining resources is 15,000. That is income from other sources. Remember that resources does not mean speculative income, does not mean casual income, but still it is income from other sources. So let us call it income from the activity of owning and maintaining race horses. All that ultimately is going to be how much? 15,000. Okay, fine. Next we have income from salary computed already, so no need of deduction. So income from salary directly you can take, that is how much? 1 lakh. That is 1 lakh rupees income from salaries, right? Then we have loss from house property 40,000. That is one loss. Of course, generally income separately you have to take, losses separately you have to take. But I told you one thing: when there is anything related to income from house property which is a loss, I'm just deleting it for casual understanding purposes. Immediately what you should do, you should just directly set it off against income from salaries. Here you don't need to even think twice. So loss from house property, this is income from salaries 1 lakh, loss from house property 40,000 can be set off. So there is no need to think twice. Directly these two can be set off. Other losses will come to them. In addition to that, further details are given, like brought forward losses are there. Loss from activity of owning and maintaining resources pertaining to the assessment year 17-18 is 25,000, he says. So when you say losses from the activity of owning and maintaining resources, they can be carried forward only for a period of 4 assessment years after the year in which they are occurred. So when they occurred, assessment year 2017-18 they occurred. So how many years they can be carried forward? 4 more years. So take calculations carefully. So 17-18 is over already. 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, 21-22. Even next year also there is a possibility. But right now we are in assessment year 2021. So can this 25,000 be set off against the income arising from owning and maintaining resources? Definitely yes. But unfortunately, the amount is not sufficient. Only we have 15,000 profit, but loss is 25,000. No problem. We'll set off only 15,000, and remaining 10,000 we have to write a note separately always. That is a carry forward note. And how many more years it can be carried forward? Only 1 year. So that's what we should clearly write. The loss from the activity of owning and maintaining resources can be carried forward. Remaining amount 10,000 rupees can be carried forward for next year also. That is assessment year 21-22. That's it. That is a point here we already dealt with. Then brought forward losses from the business of textiles is 60,000. Loss pertain to assessment year 12-13. That is a separate story. But before going to the brought forward losses, first of all we have to make sure current year losses we are all adjusting. First priority is for current year losses. Without adjusting current year losses, you cannot set off brought forward losses. Understand that very carefully. So compute the gross total income of Batra for the assessment year and also determine the losses eligible for carry forward for the next year. He is asking. Fine. That is okay. Now, because we have not touched the current year's losses, first we have to complete that part. Then only we can come to this. But why we touched owning and maintaining? Because owning and maintaining is a special case. Similarly, loss from house property is a special case. Directly that can be always set off blindly with salaries. Remaining things we have to just apply some brain and provisions. Let us take one by one. Go back to the question once again. So short-term capital gain 1,40,000 already we took. That is a positive item. Then loss from speculative business 60,000 is there. Is there anywhere where there is a profit from speculative business? No. So what can happen? Only possibility is carry forward. Loss from speculative business amount is how much? 60,000 rupees. Can be carried forward for how many years? Only 4 years. So 60,000 rupees can be carried forward for a period of 4 more years. Since there is no other profit from the speculative business, this could not be set off in the current year. Done. Then we have long-term capital gain. Already would have taken that. This is 30,000. However, look at the next thing. Long-term capital loss. that is 1 lakh rupees. There is a restriction. Long-term capital loss can be set off only against long-term capital gain. And how much capital gain is available long-term? Only 30,000. Means entire 1 lakh could not be set off. So it has to be set off only to the extent of 30,000. So naturally, how much should be carried forward? Remaining 70,000 long-term capital loss should be carried forward to next 8 years. And mind you, that can be set off only against long-term capital gain of next 8 years. But as of now, there is possibility of setting off only 30,000. So 70,000 has to be carried forward. That is the answer for this point. Then we have textile business profit 50,000. We have already taken that. That's a positive item. Then we have income from activity of owning and maintaining resources. We already did that. Then income from salary. We already did that. Loss from house property. We already did that. So these are the various items we already dealt. So always make sure you have dealt with all the items. I told you a kind of check every problem I will not do, but in the exam you should do. How many points are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 types of things are there. So if it is possible, wherever one by one you have to check. Did I treat this? Did I treat this? Did I treat this? Like that, each item you have to check with your answer so that you don't miss anything. We have a good possibility of scoring, that we should not mess it up and unnecessarily lose marks. So these are the various areas. All of them are positive. Loss from house property already we set off against salaries. Now there is a brought forward loss from business of textile 60,000. Loss pertaining to assessment year 12-13. Little bit border case. Don't just directly jump to conclusion, but make sure whether 8 years has passed by or not. So assessment year was 12-13. After that 8 years, no? So add 8. So definitely 2021 is the last year in which this can be set off. Otherwise you can calculate with your fingers also according to your convenience, but final answer should be correct. Nobody is going to look at your fingers or how you are thinking, what is happening in your brain. Doesn't matter. Your answer correct, you get marks. Not correct, you don't get marks. So understand that carefully. So don't be shy in calculating anything with fingers also, no problem. But don't speak out loud while preparing also and in exam halls also. So what about 8 years from 12-13? So 13-14, 14-15, 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, 18-19, 19-20 and 20-21. So the 8th year is 2021. So we are exactly in the 8th year. So the question of whether this 60,000 business loss can it be set off now or not? Answer is yes. Loss from business. Which type of business is talking? Textile business only. This is also. It can be definitely set off against profit of textile business, no problem. Even if there are different businesses also, no problem. Within PGBP there is no issue. Carry forward, brought forward losses can be set off against any income under the head of PGBP. But another problem has come here is we don't have 60,000 to set it off. We have only 50,000, so we can use that only. Then what happens to the remaining 10,000? What happened? Nothing. It cannot be carried forward. No possibility. So this loss from textile business cannot be carried forward any more years, since already 8 years are finished. And it's not a specified business so that it can carry it forward indefinitely. Not possible. So it lapsed and we can just ignore this for future years. Nothing can be carried forward there. That's it. These are the items here. So one by one, bring them to the outer column. So what is the income from salaries after the set off of loss from house property? That is 60,000. Same way, if you calculate here, that is going to be definitely 0. And here it's going to be 1,40,000, since these two are already set off. And once again, here also this is going to be 0. And finally, what is going to be the total income or gross total income of this person is going to be 2 lakhs rupees. That is the gross total income of this person. Look at the carry forward things. All of them have restrictions. If you observe, loss arising out of activity of owning and maintaining resources could not be set off, because it could be set off only against the profits which are not sufficient, so it is still carried forward for one more year. Loss from Speculative business could not be set off because there are no profits from speculative business. So that is going to be carried forward for future 4 years. Again, long-term capital loss also has a restriction. It could have been set off only against short long-term capital gain, which were available only to the extent of 30,000. So remaining 70,000 has to be carried forward for next period of 8 years. And same way, the textile business loss, which was brought forward, could be set off only against PGBP, because when it is brought forward losses, always inter source adjustment is okay, but inter head adjustment is not possible. That's why the remaining 10,000 also could not be set off against anything, and because of that it lapsed, we can say. And finally, the answer of this question is 2 lakhs rupees. That is the gross total income of Mr. Batra. That will be the final answer. If you observe, naturally, yes, that is the answer, 2 lakhs rupees. And what are the things to be carried forward? Clearly you should write this things to be carried forward: 60,000, 70,000 and 10,000. This not possible to be carried forward. We are not writing it as a part of eligibility of carry forward. We have to write a note telling that this 10,000 is not possible to be carried forward. Only 3 things are possible to be carried forward. And if possible, you can write the number of years also. That will give additional impression to the valuer. Same way, these are perfect 6 marks question. We can say 5 to 6 marks question. Setting off and carrying forward of losses according to the information that is given. Clear? That is question number 3, which is there in the ICI material. This is the past examination question. Same way it can be presented also. Next, question number 4 is a little different question, because here we have to apply the provisions of PGBP as well. For that we need to remember, and also apply the provisions of what we call as presumptive taxation. Let us just quickly go through this. There is nothing to calculate here. It's only an application of a provision, simply speaking. Read through this. Mr. A furnishes the following information. First of all, there is an income from plying of vehicle computed as per books 3,20,000. That is income as per books, that is. And he owned 5 light goods vehicles throughout the year. That is the point. Then income from retail trade of garments, retail trade. So 44AD is available, and plying of vehicles 44AE will be possible for him to be taken. But normally this 3,20,000 is not as per 44AE but as per books. Same way, income from retail trade of garments is as per books. This is profit 7,50,000. Of course, turnover is 1,21,70,000. Is he eligible for 44AD? Absolutely yes, because his turnover is not exceeding 2 crores. And he has declared income on presumptive basis for the first time in the assessment year 1920. Our assessment year is 2021. Last year, assessment year 1920, he already declared under 44 AD. And you should remember that also. Once you declare under 44 AD, you want to come out, you can come out, but you cannot come back once again for the next 4 years. So here, the point of whether he comes back or not, that is all related to future. But what we have to give as an advice, if he wants to choose 44 EAD, he can continue to do so. But if he wants to show that his actual income as computed from the books is less than the presumptive income, he has to, and as usual, maintain the books of accounts under section 44AA. And not only that, he has to he has to get them audited under 44AB. All these things you should already know. But finally, there is nothing here to calculate. Only point is he has a brought forward depreciation. So there is a depreciation, brought forward in the sense unabsorbed depreciation, which is related to 2018-19. Anyway, there is no limit for unabsorbed depreciation. So year does not matter. This can also be set off indefinitely. Question comes, can he use this depreciation for setting off if he chooses 44AE or 44AD? This was a similar point we already discussed in PGBP chapter. Can he do that? Answer is no. Because under 44AD and 44AE, it is assumed that all deductions under section 32 are presumed to have been given. And by the way, The unabsorbed depreciation does not fall under our set of provisions of 7071. This is already under section 32 only. Means what? All deductions between section 30 to 37 are deemed to have been given under section 44 AD and 44 AE. So the point is very simple here. If Mr. A chooses the presumptive taxation, he cannot take this 1 lakh rupees deduction. If he chooses actual incomes, then he can give deduction. That's all. So which one is better for him? You have to just calculate and show. Compute the taxable income of Mr. A and tax liability with reasons for your computation. So let us take as per books first, and then we can go to presumptive taxation. As per books, what is that? Whatever is given as it is. So as per books, PGBP is 7,50,000 PGBP, and also this is also PGBP. Income from plying of vehicles is 3,20,000. Both are given. All that we are doing is add them. We'll get 10,70,000. Can this 1 lakh be deducted? Yes, because this is actual income. If it was presumptive, this 1 lakh could not have been deducted. Because this is actual income, this 1 lakh can be set off against the positive incomes of the SSE, then which becomes 9,70,000 total income. Of course, remember the tax liability calculations, and you do that. How to calculate tax liability, you know that. 9,70,000 minus 5 lakhs into 20% plus 12,500 plus 4% cess. Total tax liability 1,10,760 you will get. Do this calculation, don't watch it. Then what if he has taken presumptive income? Then what? Then income from retail trade under 44 AD will be 8% of the turnover which is given. If you calculate, it comes out to 9,73,600. And you have to remember 44 AE also. Light good vehicles. Light good vehicles, what is this provision? 7,500 rupees per vehicle per month. And like that, how many vehicles he has? 5 light good vehicles he has. 5. So 5 light good vehicles, definitely 5 into 12 into 7,500. That comes to 4,50,000. The point here is total of this is 14,23,600. None of this is related to this chapter. All of this is PGBP. Already we should know all this. Nothing new here. But what is the only point to be once again reiterated? If the SSE chooses the presumptive income, he cannot claim the deduction of unabsorbed depreciation, because all the deductions are deemed to have been already given. That's all. So that is a point here to be mentioned. In the both cases, had the presumptive income provisions been opted, means if they were opted, all deductions under 30 to 38, including depreciation, would have been deemed to have been given full effect to, and no further deductions under those sections will be available. And once again, point to be noted, unabsorbed depreciation falls under section 32 only. Of course, it has a subsection, but basically it is also 32 only. Means 32, which is unabsorbed depreciation, cannot be claimed as deduction if the SSE chooses presumptive taxation. So if the SSE chooses presumptive taxation, no deduction of that 1 lakh. Hence his total income will be 14,23,600. Tax liability will be also calculated accordingly as 2,49,160. However, if the SSE did not choose presumptive income, then the tax liability of the SSE would be only 1,10,760. That's it. Here also tax liability is little more. Whichever is beneficial for the SSE, that he has to choose. Naturally, if in this case tax liability of the SSE is lesser, if he chooses books of accounts rather than presumptive income. However, that point also you should write. However is always there. However, what? Since that income is lesser, than the income that is computed under the presumptive taxation, SSE can choose the actual income. However, he has to maintain the books of accounts under 44 AA, and not only that, he has to also get them audited under section 44 AB. Both of them will be applicable for this particular SSE if he chooses this, preferring to have a tax liability of only 1,10,760. Otherwise, alternatively, if he chooses presumptive income, no problem, then there is no need of audit and all, but his tax liability would be 2,49,160. Clear? These are some more questions in relation to set off and carry forward of losses. In the next session, we'll continue with these questions, and you need to practice these questions very well. These questions have to be practiced well, and for practicing these questions, you should first of all be thorough with the provisions. Then only the questions practice will have any impact. So continue the practice of these questions, and in the next session, we'll discuss the practice, or we can say the solutions for some more questions. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you.